Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Fourth and Wrong. Huck here. And my main man, Chris.
Tyler, let's talk about it. It's not great.
No, things aren't great over here. How are things for you?
All of my teams are winning. Like, all of my teams are winning.
Yeah, what was it, like 76-0? No, that was Ole Miss. You were 63. Yeah.
Here's the thing, Tyler. You could be doing poorly.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
The thing is, you're not doing bad enough in life to where you would have posted, I don't know, top of my head, I would eat dog shit out of a red Solo cup if Florida State loses to Boston College. Because if you did that, that would be crazy, you know?
Well, if there's one thing that I've learned in life, it's you never put yourself in between DJU and a pile of shit. It's not going to work out.
It's not all his fault. We're going to get into it. What's going on back there?
We're just trying to get good vibes. Good vibes is what we're
palm trees.
Yeah.
Let's just kick off the show.
Is there an echo for anybody? Booza says he hears an echo.
I don't hear an echo at all.
Okay, good. All right. What do we want to talk about?
For
those that are on the audio, we're eating. I don't know. I did real dog shit. It's not bad. What about you?
I got peppermint mocha dog shit. I got pumpkin spice poop. It's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cookies and creamy shit.
We're going to lose some listeners on this one. Here's the thing.
Okay.
I'm going to finish mine for sure. So I don't really care. Why don't you sound off on what's going on with Florida State? They lost to Boston College and Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, it was like never a game, really.
No. And I will be the voice of reason while also making fun of some people that deserve it.
Okay. To be honest with you, I don't really know what the issue is. I can see that they don't seem to. I don't think they quit during the game. I just think they don't really play with any sort of intensity at all. Very soft. DJU is not good, but he's not the only reason the offense sucks. The O-line is not nearly as good as we had heard in camp. The receivers can't get open. It's shocking when your number one receiver is a guy that couldn't see the field last year at Bama.
Dude, he was a starter in almost every game and had like 21 targets.
The running backs have no room to run because there's basically an 11-man box. Boston College is manning up on your receivers and winning. So things are not great in that front. Defense very soft. Linebackers terrible. Boston College hit the same play with a little flare out to the back with no one covering him about 5 times. 7 drops in the game, most in the games since, I don't know, 2022, I think.
Yeah.
There's like a lack of focus. It's crazy. I see a lot of people shitting on Norvell. It's clear from his past that he's a good coach. It's also clear that he's not doing a good job coaching this particular team, no matter what it is. Right. I don't know if it's not getting the guys in the right position to succeed. Maybe misevaluating the roster and thinking that guys were better than they were in camp. But it's gone off the rails. I hate it for DJU because my guess is he's going to get benched at some point because they have no choice. They're out of the playoff race. They're, for all intents and purposes, out of the ACC race. And guess what? You open 2025 with Alabama.
Forgot about that. That's tough.
To figure out now. We heard in camp, pretty much all camp, that the freshman players and the sophomore players are the best, most talented on the roster. But obviously, when you're starting as a true freshman, you're going to make mistakes. They thought that they could maybe get by with the seniors before let the young guys get ready. And I think they're going to be forced to play them pretty much immediately. They got to bye this week, thank God. And I don't really know what they're going to do, but my guess is you're going to see a youth movement and see if they can try to figure it out and get ready for, build through this season, but obviously get ready for next year to have some experienced guys because it doesn't get any easier. So, but it's embarrassing, dude, honestly. Went to bed at halftime.
Are you serious?
Refused to watch the game.
I don't understand how you do this because you texted me and you were like, fucking, at least we don't have to talk about Florida State anymore in the pod this year. And I looked at Allie and I was like, here we go. This is what he does.
Yep.
And I get it because dude, there's been times where I have messaged strangers on Twitter. I'm like, Bama's about to lose this game because I'm just in an emotional wreck. At least you don't do that. But here's the thing. So Jay says DJ3 team did have a lot of overthrows on decisive downs. I got a little pushback on this. DJ.
Let me push back on the nickname. That's kind of bad. DJ3T. All right, but go ahead.
So I think it's a lot of times, if everyone on social media is piling on one thing or person, more often than not, it's wrong. That does not include the guy about the dog shit thing. That was completely in the right. Okay, that was incredible.
That guy disappeared.
That guy disappeared. I will say this too, and I shouldn't, but I'm just in my never-ending quest to give credit where credit's due, even if it's somebody I don't like. Evan's buddy, I don't know his real name. He's a douchebag on Twitter to me, and that's fine. He made a fake account with this guy's name, and it fucking blew up, and he was posting everywhere. It was really funny. Kudos to him for blowing up on Twitter. That's a big day for him. Go back to the DJU thing. All the hate that he's getting, dude. What did you think DJU was? I know it sounds pretty stupid since I was like, he could be a Heisman contender.
What did you think?
And buying into the fact that it's well, listen, he's in his fifth year. He's 24 years old or 23, 24 years old. He clearly was a talented player at some point. And again, even at the collegiate level, we saw what he did against Notre Dame that one night. Right? It's weird to me that he fell off the face of the earth so much. I continue to say I think he is a complete head case in terms of I don't think he has thick skin. I don't think he shuts out the outside noise. I feel like I'm also describing myself when I hear myself say it, but I think that's who he is as a quarterback. I think I don't think he does a good job of being able to fuck it, we ball type attitude. Let's just go out here and it's whatever. I don't think he does that.
Oh, a dog.
No, he's not exactly he is what my college coach would refer to as a mental midget. He
has no confidence. And you can tell every snap that he takes, he has zero confidence when he drops back.
He missed some throws last night. He missed a touchdown pass early on in the game. But I tell you what, they didn't do a fucking thing last night to help DJU. Whoever 84 is, that tight end,
oh my God,
his ass would have been I would have Mike Leach locked him in a fucking what do you call it? Outside shelter or cabin and whatever it was. Yeah. I would have locked him in there until he learned how to fucking catch. That guy's hands were awful. And it was numerous times where he was hit right in the hands. And
what's even more frustrating than that, Chris? He was one of the stars of camp, was catching everything.
And it hasn't translated at all.
No.
I get the Malik Benson thing. I get the Malik Benson thing because Malik Benson's that's another thing we've seen, but it kind of feels the same way where it's look at our expectation of Malik Benson versus now. And it's oh, this makes sense. He didn't fucking look what he did his last stop.
Yep.
But with DJU, all of a sudden it's like, God, he sucks. DJU's the worst, blah, blah. And I tell you what, I feel bad. And I like, he could be bad and not a great quarterback. I don't care how this sounds. I don't care if it's like weak or weak-minded or whatever. No one deserves to have the entire fucking internet shitting on him in a team sport that it's like, it wasn't like he went out there and threw fucking 4 picks.
Right.
Like, I mean, he didn't get any help. And it just, I will put all of the blame squarely on Mike Norvell. And that may not be even that much deserved, but he is the head coach. And I will go back to this, and I don't care how it sounds. You're probably not going to like it, Tyler. I know these are 2 different programs, but when you heard Kirby talk about going into the fucking playoff last year and not getting in and going to the Orange Bowl, the mindset that they had and the mindset that Florida State had was totally different. And I'm not here to sit there and bark back and forth, like no pun intended, about this is different in culture or program, because I understand its differences in what was going on at the time. And Florida State should have made the playoff. But since then, what we have tangible evidence of Florida State is getting beat by 60, regardless of who was playing or who wasn't playing, going to another continent and getting beat, coming back home, getting beat at home. So now you've lost in a bowl game that was meaningless on another fucking continent that was in a game you probably should have won and it didn't feel like you were super close in for most of the game until you tied it up late in the fourth. And then you get a home game and it's like, all right, well, listen, you got a home game against Boston College against a new head coach. They've only got one good player. What could go wrong? Well, the one good player at quarterback fucking just, for whatever reason was able to dice you up. It was just really Norvell has not done anything. Oh, by the way, in between then, you've also tried to sue the fucking conference that you're in to get out of it. So
yeah, that's just, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, it's not a great look now, obviously, but that was going to happen regardless. Anyways,
I think that with everything that's happened, the optics all look very bad. They all look very bad. And Norvell is the one that's like, dude, you're in charge. You're in charge. What the fuck has happened? Like, at some point, you have to get, like, listen, I've hit rock bottom several times, brother. At some point, you got to pick yourself back up before you can do it again. Get back on that horse and hit rock bottom one more time. But he has figured out, or he has not figured out a way to get out of that yet. And that's part that's been very, very concerning and frustrating. Is it's like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah, it's no doubt a frustrating year for him as a fan, like, just because he had built up so much good equity with the program and the fan base, and, like, immediately 2 games in, like, you have people all over the internet that are like, "Norvell sucks. We never should have extended him. He's nothing without Jordan Travis." And it's like, well, okay, everybody just back up a little bit.
Yeah.
He's done a poor job with this team, but I think especially in this era with transfer portal, NIL, every team is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where he went the most wrong is he miscalculated not only the talent on the team, although I will say it's not a coincidence that Pete Thamel came out and said multiple NFL scouts have told me that, this D-line could be the best in the nation. Nick Saban went on Pat McAfee and said this is a top 5 after he went out and watched us practicing in Ireland, said this is a top 5 roster in the country. Norvell's doing a great job. So these people that have extreme eye for talent all see the players, but they obviously don't know the mental side. And I think this team is just mentally weak. Norvell hasn't figured out how to get the team to click, and it's on him, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem very fixable unless you start sitting seniors and playing freshmen based on talent and hope for the best. And I think that's what you're going to see. I mean, their next game is Memphis at home. They're going to lose that game if they run the same team out there that they ran out the last 2 weeks. So you may want to change things up. It's a bye week. It's a perfect time to try to get some of these other kids ready and see if you can change the season around. I mean, they started 2002 0-4 and ended up going 10-4. So it's not impossible. I mean, I thought that team was going to go 0-12.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not impossible, but here we sit.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I got that off our chest. I hate I was pulling for you last night, and listen, you know me well enough. Like I'm gonna talk my shit and all that kind of stuff, but I also want all my friends' teams for the most part to win. Like I pull for Jeff, I pull for like Florida State when it doesn't affect Bama. I understand that I pull for Tech, whatever. I want them to win because I want you to be happy and I want you to be able to have like a fun season.
Yeah.
And I hate when you have to go through like this. I see you, Wesley Williams. I see you. I appreciate that. I hate that you're having to go through it because it fucking sucks and it's miserable. And like I hate getting texts from you that's like, well, fucking season's over and this blows. And it's like, dude, it's like September 3rd. And you're not even wrong.
I know.
It's the worst part.
I know, man. Imagine waiting all off season. Like, put yourself in my shoes. Like, imagine if you waited all off season, were super hyped up, coming off an undefeated season, minus the bowl game, and you just look like absolute shit, and your season's over after 2 weeks. I mean, it is rough. But it'll give me a chance to watch other teams every Saturday and maybe watch my game on record.
You never know. All right, now that we got that out of the way, all in all, pretty awesome week one. We haven't spoken since before the game's Thursday, right? Nothing crazy happened Thursday. We did see Colorado
was in the dogfight.
They were in a dogfight.
Travis Hunter, by the way, my God, is that kid stupid?
He's good.
It'd be nice to have him instead of Malik Benson. Thinking about it now, that'd be nice.
Yeah, he's really good. Shedeur Sanders looked good.
This close.
There was multiple plays in that game that I don't like Shedeur Sanders, but I think that he did a great job in that game in general. I thought he was really good. I thought he was really, really good. Yeah. Good on Colorado. Like the whole country hate watching them. A lot of fun. Some really good games that night. North Carolina played Minnesota. I tell you what, obviously I have to cover the SEC. Like these aren't big games, but dude, Arkansas went out in game one of the Bobby Petrino era. And if you think it was nothing because they put up 70 against Arkansas Pine Bluff, let me tell you why you're wrong. It's the first time they put up 70 points in like over a decade since like Bobby Petrino was also the head coach, I think. It is the third most yards they have put up in program history with like 687 or 683 or something like that. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. So they did a really good job. They scored on all 10. No, Wesley Williams. Well, maybe if that happens, I don't know. But they scored on all 10 offensive possessions. It was really impressive. I tell you what, while Wesley Williams is here, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this game, Tyler. But skipping over Friday, I will tell you right now, one of the things that I was most impressed by, and I don't care how it sounds. I don't care. I know they played a shitty team, but Tennessee is good, dude. Tennessee's really good. They are
a little bit different at quarterback than Joe Milton.
It's amazing, dude. The accuracy on the deep ball is insane. How much it elevates an offense that is a what do you call it? A Josh Heupel offense. Like it is. I know that they played nobody, but I'm pretty sure in the first half against Tennessee, not Tennessee Tech, whoever it was, Georgia plays Tennessee Tech this week. Whoever it was they were playing,
Chattanooga.
UT Chattanooga. There were 8 possessions. They forced 1 turnover. The other 7 were punts. They only had 3 first downs. I think they had 3 total plays over 10 yards. Like they were really, really good, really efficient. Over 700 yards of offense. I think over 300 yards rushing, 400 yards passing. Nico looked phenomenal. They were up 45-0 at the half. They won like 69-0 or 69-3 or something like that. They could have put up 100 if they wanted. They 1,000% could have put up 100. It was really impressive. Let's get into the good games.
Okay, you want to go big games first? Because I was going to slightly go micro and just look at some of the scores in the SEC this weekend.
First time ever that they had 4 teams win by 60-plus points.
Missouri, 51-0. Arkansas.
It wasn't even great. Well, hold on. Did you watch that game?
The Missouri-Murray State game? I did not.
So I went to Jeff's house to watch it.
Yeah, you went to a Missouri fan's house, yeah.
And it was – so Murray State came out, and he was like – right before kickoff, he goes, I think Murray State's like the worst team in the country. Like I'm pretty sure I read that they are –
regardless
their head coach – dude, their head coach makes $285,000 a year. And I'm pretty sure had like no previous head coaching Like he was like an analyst or something, like something weird. It was very bizarre. Jody Wright. Listen to this real quick. This is on their actual website. It says Wright has Wright's resume is unrivaled in the coaching profession. Highlighted by 2 stints under legendary head coach Nick Saban and working with other major names in the coaching profession, including, tell me how out of whack this is, okay? In order, including Shane Beamer, Lane Kiffin, Billy Napier, Kirby Smart, Sylvester Croom, Bill Clark,
so he was just
Joe Judge.
He was like an analyst on a staff with all those guys,
right? But whoever wrote this, I need him to do my LinkedIn next time I have to go get a job. He was the assistant coach and tight ends coach at South Carolina last year, and then was like an offensive assistant. He was an offensive assistant for the Giants in 2021.
Good for him, man. Well, he gets his first shot at an SEC team. Didn't go too hot, but it's okay.
He opened the game with an onside kick, Tyler.
Hell yes, brother.
They did not recover.
We ain't here to lose.
They opened the game with an onside kick. They didn't recover. Missouri scored. Then they went for it on their next possession on 4th and 1 from their inside their own 35. They didn't get it. Missouri scored. Then they threw a pick 6. And all of those things happened, Tyler, in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Love that. Love it. That's how you should play if you're an FCS team playing a. I mean, judging by these scores, I'm guessing all of these teams do this. Look, listen, 51-0 that game. Arkansas 70-0. Oklahoma 51-3. Texas
6 turnovers.
Texas 52-0. Bama 63-0. Ole Miss 76-0. Tennessee 69-3. Florida 41-17. All right,
hold on. Going through those real quick, my favorite part of all of them was Ole Miss beating Furman 76-0, putting up over 700 yards of offense. Jackson Dart had 400 yards passing, 6 total touchdowns. The referees asked Lane Kiffin after halftime, coming out of the, do you want to shorten the quarters in the 3rd and 4th quarter? And he said no.
Dude.
What a dick.
He's such a dick. I know. I was going through the scores on Saturday, just kind of scrolling through. And I see that like at halftime, Jackson Dart had like 385 passing yards. I was like, good.
Right. Insane.
Throwing all over him.
Yeah, it was nuts.
We'll get to. Do you want to talk real quick about what you saw from the first game for Kalen DeBoer?
I do want to say this. It was hard to understand or hard to really get a grasp of, hey, was the offense really good? Because the offense put up 600 yards and 63 points. At the same time, there weren't a lot of sustained drives. They didn't have to. They went 3 and out on the first series, which was like the thing I kept saying all offseason would be the worst thing that could happen. But Jalen was 7 of 9 for 200 yards, ran for like another 79, had 5 total touchdowns. Second straight season opener, he had 5 touchdowns. The one thing I will say that I was actually really impressed with, right, is they held Western Kentucky to 145 total yards. It is the first time since the first game of the 2009 season that Western Kentucky has been held under 200 yards of offense in over 15 years. This is an offense that was ranked 15th in the country in passing offense a year ago, 2nd the year before that, and 1 the year before that. Like, they have been a really good – and Bama held them to 103 total yards. So the defense looked good. Offense, I think, we'll see. But Ryan Williams was the most depressing part of the whole weekend for me was finding out after the game that Ryan Williams, Bama's freshman receiver, 5-star that skipped his senior year, he is 17. He will not turn 18 until 2 weeks after the College Football National Championship, which means he wasn't alive for the Nick Saban press conference to introduce him as the head coach.
Yeah, I saw that he said the first Heisman winner that he ever watched play was Johnny Manziel.
That makes me want to die. I was like fucking 30.
Ugh.
Anyway, should we get to the big games?
Yeah, let's get to the big games. By the way, first, can you hear this? No? Okay. I gotta figure that out. I don't wanna share people's phone numbers on here.
Oh, angry fans?
Well, I was just gonna say,
What are you doing? Stop
you
fucking.
wanna do them all together, or do you wanna do them as we talk about the game?
I want you to stop fucking with the. Damn it! You just messed something up.
Anyways,
What did you hit?
I just shared the screen, brother. Anyways, can you hear this now?
I'm just sitting here watching the Reds. It's 77 or something like that now. 73 to fucking 0. We're kicking their ass. I gotta ask, is Jackson Dart a Heisman full quarterback?
What do you think? Heisman quarterback Jackson Dart?
He could be. They're trying.
If Lane wants to just, I mean, it was Furman, but I have a feeling that offense will be clicking this year.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you fixed it. Look at you.
I'm so mad at that whole thing.
Okay. All right, let's get into the big games. You want to start in Atlanta?
Let's start with Georgia Clemson, dude. They're good. They're really good. They did everything that I expect them to do. For whatever reason, I brought this up like last week on Big Picks Energy. Georgia has struggled with getting off to a good start early. They have NC State looked like dog shit. But
yeah,
they haven't started like I think they averaged like less than a touchdown in the first quarter of games like a season ago, but then they led the country in scoring offense in the second quarter, or sorry, scoring offense in the second quarter with like over 15 points per game in the second quarter. In their first quarter of games, they averaged 6.8 points per game, and then in the last three quarters, it was over like 32. Like they were very good. Like after, because they don't need to come out of the gates to jump on anybody at all. And it was 6-0 at halftime. And I kept looking at it. I was like, they're about to come out here and make halftime adjustments. They got the ball. Clemson hasn't proven they can do fucking anything. And dude, I tell you what, man, it's crazy to think that like in this day and age, we're so far removed from Dabo being a likable person, because he has just made zero effort to make them a winning program. And the bitch fest that happens with Clemson fans afterwards, it might be the least likable fan base in the country right now. It might be they're not as abrasive as Tennessee fans are, because like in Tennessee fans wear that like a badge of honor, which is fine. But Clemson fans are this weird fucking like pious and fake moral. Like I saw comments being made. I think Message Board Geniuses posted something they had that was like, if I had to watch Kirby Smart yelling at 17-year-olds on the sideline all Saturday and it's like, fuck off. Like, just say you're a fucking loser and you don't care about winning anymore, because that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. There's other sports you can go watch. Go watch fucking women's soccer.
But
in
that's
football,
like the exact moniker of their coach. Like, I'm going to do things my way.
Right.
And in spite of what actually happens in college football now. And again, we talked about this last week. The program is just slowly deteriorating. Now, look, they just played the best team in the country. Klubnik is not the answer. So
right.
I don't know that they're going to have a great season, but Georgia's going to be putting whoopings on this like this on a lot of teams this year. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where you go. Maffa only had 59 yards rushing, 3.7 per attempt, and that guy was supposed to be a beast. I still don't think they have answers at wide receiver. The two studs, one for TJ Moore, one catch for 7 yards. Bryant Wasco, one catch for 5 yards. I mean,
I thought Clemson's defense was good for as long as they could be. Yeah, but it's like you were never going to give them any help. It was just like, it after a while it was like what do you do? I will also say this: the biggest drop off for Dabo, it's very noticeable, has nothing to do with his inability or lack of want to get into the portal or high school recruiting or what the fuck ever. His biggest lacking now as a head coach is the fact that he's not making halftime adjustments, and they got their ass handed to him in the second half by Kirby Smart and them. The other two things that my personal biggest takeaways from this game, Nate Frazier, that number 3, is going to be a fucking problem.
He's good. He's good.
He's not as physical as Gurley, but he's got more breakaway speed, I think, than Gurley, which is scary. He's not as physical as those other two with Michelle and Chubb, but like, dude, that kid is fucking good. Like if ETN is the starter, that's scary to me to think that he's
That
somehow
kid's
better.
spelling him.
Huh?
That if he's like spelling him, he's like, in terms of like giving him a break, then you have to face Nate Frazier after getting just run all over by ETN. Yeah, that's a problem. It's a problem. What's the other takeaway that you had?
Fuck it. Get the fuck over yourself if you're upset about what Roddy White said about Clemson having too many white players. I got news for you guys. They do have too many white players, and I don't care how that sounds. I'm white. It doesn't matter. It is very noticeable. And I tell you what, if you saw a fucking white kid, if you saw a white kid chasing after another kid, I don't care if he was white or not, because Georgia has different athletes all over the field. Do not sit here and pretend to be mad that Roddy White made a joke that all of us have made before about our own fucking pigment and skin color, about, yeah, you know what? It's okay to say white people, for the most part, aren't as good of athletes. And I don't give a shit how this sounds. I don't want to watch a fucking secondary at Bama with a bunch of white defensive backs. I don't. I don't care how that sounds. Like, it's my own personal opinion. I would rather have good recruits, because here's the other thing too, Tyler. It's not what that translates to is not that. It's not that. Yes, very good point. They have too many Prestons and Garretts and Chads. It is not saying that white people aren't good athletes. Okay, because there are plenty of great white athletes. Okay, look at me, huh? Enough said.
I think you just proved your own point.
I think I proved my own point. But here's the thing. It's not like you are seeing 5-star athletes of any kind in the back end of that defense or at these starting positions predominantly. And so it's like, it's a little bit concerning to me that in this day and age, the amount of players he has on his team that aren't highly ranked recruits, regardless of color, that's the issue. That's the issue.
You mean the names Cade, Jake, Cole, and Wade don't do it for you?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, definite beat down. Kind of honestly, more shocking for me was like Clemson they couldn't do anything on offense.
No.
Like, I was expecting some sort of, double digits, maybe. Like 3 points is tough, but I don't know. So, yeah, we'll see where Clemson goes from here. They got App State this week, which is kind of a sneaky game. I don't know if App State's as good as they typically are this year, but if Clemson, we'll see how good Clemson is probably this weekend.
Yeah, agreed. Let's talk about anything else. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
dude,
here, I got a way to start us off.
Yeah.
This game.
Hey guys. Yes, a long time listener. He's back. A Florida resident. Just sitting here looking at the game, 38-10, and Billy sold us a sack of shit. Pretty much what it is. Listen, I like Billy as a person. I actually think he's a great program builder, but until he gets out his own way, he gets an offensive coordinator, he literally ain't going to be shit. He will probably be great at his next stop once he figures that part out, but this is, to call it depressing would be me being nice. This is so fucking sad. I'm sorry for cussing, but it is literally that. It is beyond sad. Well, Vandy beat D-Tech, and Iowa scored 40 points today. So I guess this is what it was supposed to be. It's going to be a long season. So, guys, have a good one, man. Hope everybody else team won today. Fuck! Sorry.
Yeah, so our resident Florida fan probably feels how most Florida fans feel at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Miami's probably better than we were expecting, but it was a 3.5 point spread, or 2.5, 3. It was never close. I mean, outside of that one long run, which you still have to count for them because it's a 75-yarder, but like he broke free. It was just kind of a busted play almost. They were averaging at that point like 3.5 yards per play.
Who, Florida?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you just go for it every fourth down, it's first, brother.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know that Billy Napier was. I was just told I got to be quiet because I've been way too loud. So I'm gonna tone it down here, guys. I didn't know that Billy Napier was the play caller.
Yeah.
So it is all his fault. Like, and I hate to say that, but here's the thing, man. Billy Napier, you had all summer to get ready for this. You had all summer. And to watch that, even that first series where it's like, I think they got a first, they moved the ball a little bit. Then they had 3rd and 5, and they ran like a pop pass type situation, like that never really stood a chance. It was so Graham Mertz, who was a very good quarterback all last season, was awful. Had 91 yards total. They couldn't do anything on Miami's defense. And I thought that if Miami, I expected Miami's offense to come out there and put up points with Cam Ward and the running back situation, the kid they got from Morgan State, some of those other recruits. Like they finally recruited up front very well. They dominated Florida on defense. Like, and it was like, dude, if Lagway doesn't come in, I don't know if they score like at all. Like it was.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, Miami obviously didn't prep for Lagway, I'm sure. So I don't know how it's probably threw off the game plan a little bit. Oh, okay. Could have muted yourself. It's fine. But yeah, same Florida, stupid penalties, the stuff that's plagued them that doesn't even have to do with football. I don't know if they had 10 men on the field this time, but a lot of times they did last year.
Yeah.
A lot of bad personal foul penalties. I mean, I'll never forget when we played Florida. Their O-lineman spit in our guy's face. Like, you
gotta want it.
You just don't do that stuff.
No, you don't.
And they had multiple personal fouls in this game. They don't seem well coached. They got a billion coaches on the sideline, and I don't know what half of them do because the team just doesn't look good. And who knows? I mean, maybe if Billy's trying to save his career, he's going Lagway full time now. I don't know.
Have you seen the other stuff that has happened since then? Because no one has had a worse 48 to 72 hours since then of Billy Napier. Like, I've tried to defend him as much as possible because I think he was put in an impossible situation. But here's the comical stuff that's happened since then. And I'm not trying to pile on to Billy Napier, right?
Yeah, I saw the basement comment. That was probably don't want to do that.
No, but hear me out here, because like Florida fans love you guys to death. I'm sure, like, I get it, but like, you did this to yourselves. Like, don't like sit here. Like, think about some of the hires you've made in the past. Jim McElwain, he was replacing Will Muschamp. So you had Will Muschamp, Jim McElwain. You had, who else? Was it Mullen came after that? Mullen went 21-5 in his first 2 seasons with 2 top 10 finishes, and then went to 3 straight New Year's Six bowls. And I think 2 things can be true at the same time. He didn't do well, but you guys were already on his ass in 2020 because of what happened with the Kyle Pitts situation in LSU. There's still like Florida fans that year who think that, well, we might have gotten into the playoff even if we lost to Alabama because, we had an early season loss, and then we had this loss that was like, we beat Georgia, we would have been 8-2 or something like that and made the playoff. And it's like the sliding doors argument that they make is stupid, for one. And then 2, but they wanted him gone then. And I think the other part of it that can be true is I saw a Georgia fan say this today, which was the moment he beat Florida, this is Mullen, the moment he beat Florida in 2020, I think is when he finally was like, I don't need to fucking recruit at all. Like, I just dialed it up after being down 14-0 to these people. I beat them by 16 points and did it with like just fucking wheel routes. Like, I just X and O's the shit out of Kirby Smart. And I think that what? Oh, I gotta be quiet. Apparently I'm loud again. I think
you changed your voice once. Both times you've acknowledged that you need to be quieter. Just right back to the same.
And another thing. No, so I think that Mullen is. I think he obviously fucked up, but like Florida fans did too, because you wanted him gone, and then you went out and got Billy Napier. and you went and got Billy Napier in a time where it was like you didn't have any kind of investing into the program. You were watching your arch rival. Then now keep in mind, Georgia was hungry because Georgia had seen their arch rival, Florida, beat their ass for 30 straight years. They won like 23 of 30 years, something like that, at one point from like the Spurrier era to like 2020 or something. I don't know.
Meyer, yeah.
Yeah. Like they had seen that. It was, or at least it was like 21 or 23 wins out in 30 years. So they were hungry to win. They had an NIL like situation in place. They had like funds in place and resources. Like, we need to recruit. This is what our budget should be. Blah blah blah. And they didn't, like, Florida didn't want to do that. Like, Florida very much kind of assumed in their mind, we're Florida. People are going to want to come to us. We're a great school, and they are a great school. But let's not forget that you guys were a fucking homecoming opponent for a lot of people before Spurrier got there. And now you're having to live in a world where it's like, oh, everyone else is also rich. Like, they didn't do the things that were in place to be, like elite, I feel like, anymore. And it's just, I think it's so short-sighted that they have not put as many funds and resources into it. Now, going back to the funny and hilarious part of this, Tyler, did you see after the game, Billy Napier couldn't open up his bottle of water?
Oh, yeah.
And that was hysterical because he was having such a hard time with it. Then he goes to the podium the next day and criticizes the fans and says some bullshit about how the fans in their mom's basement in rural Central Florida, blah, blah, blah. So he comes to the fans.
Seems pretty direct, too.
Seems pretty direct. And then UCF immediately comes out with a NIL producing shirt that just says in their colors, the black shirt and in gold number of letters, it says rural Central Florida, and has immediately started selling it. It's selling like fucking hotcakes with like for their own NIL, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And then on top then you started seeing Flight Tracker. Wesley, you can donate to the show. We'll talk after. You can definitely donate to the show. But like then there was a Flight Tracker situation where they saw some private jet go from Gainesville to Oxford, and there's already rumors about that. That the guy from the Orlando Magic, who like is a legit person that covers the Magic, said he heard from sources that he could be fired by as early as tomorrow, which I don't believe is true. But it's like like what's happened to Billy Napier. Oh, and then the other part, just to show you how the level of fucking dysfunction at this whole university that's not on Billy Napier. You know, they wore the black uniforms last year, Tyler, against Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to make that an annual tradition, right? Okay. They were going to make that an annual tradition. They were going to, what they ended up doing was having all the uniforms and jerseys like signed and then fucking auctioned off. And then all the money went to something called Fisher House. And it's like it's a local charity, and they were going to raise money, and they were going to do it every single year. I'm pretty sure it was Billy Napier's idea, right? Thanks, Wesley. Appreciate that. I'm pretty sure it's Billy Napier's idea. And there was an interview that came out earlier, like this week, where somebody asked, they said, hey, how much money was raised? And she was like, I'm not going to comment on that. And they were like, was it, did it go over well, blah, blah, blah. And the lady was like noticeably upset with what was being asked.
What lady?
The lady who represents Fisher House.
Okay. All right.
She's being asked by the press. Turns out they never received any money. Because Billy Napier came up with this idea, ran it by administration, and then they never approved it. And so they went along with the whole thing. They knew what was happening. They knew it was like what was in the press. They knew it was what Billy Napier was promising and saying. And then they just kept the money.
Yikes.
Think about that.
There's your out. If you can prove that it was just Napier that did it, they could fire him for cause.
That's unreal.
I don't think that's a coincidence that came out.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. We'll see. That's interesting.
Let's move on to the next segment.
Okay.
Ugh.
That was a boring game, but Notre Dame impressed me. I saw A&M lost one of their starting linemen for the year after that game. Yeah. That's tough. I mean, knew it was going to be a good game. We both picked A&M. Obviously, hindsight 2020.
I did?
Yeah. You picked Notre Dame to win?
I don't know why I would have picked A&M.
You definitely picked A&M.
I don't think that's true.
Let us know what Marler picked.
Just
We
call me
both picked
Scott.
A&M. Well, I was reading the comments and it said Scott Strickland on there.
Yeah.
So anyways, probably okay. Maybe we'll just say I picked A&M, and I probably didn't put in enough thought into first year coach, even though it's at
Yeah.
home. You've got Freeman, who's been there. This is year 3, I believe.
Oh, you are right. Yeah.
Yeah, year 3. Established quarterback, even though Elko was his coach. The receivers were making plays downfield, which I hadn't seen from Notre Dame in a while. I thought maybe their O-line would give them problems, and it did at times. But yeah, man, impressive for Notre Dame. I mean, I think I said that they were probably overranked coming into the season, but I was wrong there.
You know, I was hold on one second. This is work. I was not surprised at Notre Dame because I thought Notre Dame was going to be good. The game played out a lot like I thought it would. Now, that being said, what surprised you more? Connor Wegman's performance or Connor Wegman? I think that's a Freudian slip because have you
heard him talk? Yeah.
Yes.
That man should not be talking like that.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. On game day when he got up with the O's or whatever, I was like,
Connor with an E.
I was like, Connor, like, I don't think I've heard much from him because he played as a true freshman last year, but got injured early. So I don't think and Jimbo doesn't let freshmen talk to the media. So I'd never really known what he was like. Maybe I just made a judgment based on the way he looked. But my man is like, I don't think he actually does he actually talk like that?
I don't know, but he went 12 of 30 with 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And it was so surprisingly bad because I do think that the one area of offense that they have a lot of potential in is him and the receiving core. And he's got guys like Moose Muhammad there and everything like that. I will also say this. It's hard for me to ever defend A&M because I thought they deserved to lose. Kudos to them for coming back. The defense was as advertised that they were great. It felt like Connor Wegman lost them that game, or he didn't put them in a position to win that game. And you have to give Notre Dame credit, sure. But everybody that I saw on social media, it wasn't a lot, but the people that were shitting on Kyle Field and the outside, College Game Day and this thing back and forth and all that kind of stuff. We make jokes about it. Dude, if you didn't think that going into week 1 of the season, watching Notre Dame go on the road to A&M and seeing that many people at fucking 8 a.m. out there, that was fucking awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And also, second week in a row, dude, Saban and McAfee and Manziel being on there, but Saban is a walking soundbite now. Him and McAfee being back and forth. The comment of the whole fucking thing was when he was he said something if you don't go out and spend it on the right guys, you're shit out of luck or whatever, talking about playing players. And then at one point he was talking about how he's trying to go hire Dirk Cutter and he could never get him. And you could see McAfee have this smile on his face and he just goes, as soon as he's done talking, he goes, "Yeah, coach, that's because you spent all your money on your players." And then everyone was like, "Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome."
Yeah. Have you seen the clip that went viral of it was in between live and the game day was playing rap for the crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
And McAfee's just bouncing like that. And Saban's just sitting there just a little church boy. Just what is going on there?
Yeah. And then you know what else was kind of cool? They started singing Country Roads. It was such a great start to the weekend. It was awesome.
What do you think Saban does more than a year on game day?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know. Of course, I was 89.
God, man.
My old coworker Connor had the tweet of the day because there's a picture of Johnny Manziel in the background with McAfee shirtless, hugging on Saban, and Saban's like, And then the Notre Dame mascot is dressed in the same outfit as Corso in the very front of like the picture. And Connor was like, there is just so much happening in this picture. All right, 2 more things real quick, at least, and then we'll close it out. All I have to say about this, and I don't know if you watched it at all, Drew Lamar is good.
Yeah, they got that new OC from Kansas. I like their offense a lot more. Singleton had a big touchdown run. Here's the thing, though. Penn State, like, this is the games that they win, they cover.
Yeah.
You know, this is just they'll play these. West Virginia is decent, right? But Penn State, the amount of talent they have under Franklin, like, they should win that game the way they did. Let's just wait till they play a good team, and that's what I really want to see, if Penn State's like a true contender for an actual like viable playoff candidate. Where they may sneak in, but like could they win in round 1?
Yeah,
and I want to see. I don't have their schedule right in front of me, but whatever their first big time game is, I'd love to see how Alar. But he looked great in game 1.
All right, I don't know if there's any more games we need to get to break down by themselves. We can kind of segue into it with this, though, because LSU and Southern Cal on Sunday night. Were there any teams, good or bad, that like really surprised you?
I was, besides Florida State,
dude. Like, I would, in the same boat, I would put Oregon, Michigan.
Yeah, Oregon
didn't surprise me. Exactly what I thought they would do. But dude, they were in a dogfight with Idaho.
Yeah, they won by 10. That was crazy. And that was like one of those games that just wasn't on TV. So that's the other thing that hurt Florida State so bad. It's like, had they been like playing on like the ACC network, they wouldn't have just been the laughing stock of the entire internet. But since they were both just standalone games, it just made it that much worse. But like Oregon was definitely in a dogfight with Idaho the entire game. They only won by 10. It's like it's not like it was close at halftime and then Oregon was like, all right, the Jets. Like, it was it was
17-14 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. NC State like played Western Carolina and was in a dogfight with them. Like, God, the ACC.
The whole ACC looks bad.
Yeah, it really, except for Miami.
Yeah,
they're the clear favorites now. USC's defense, man. Like, if they can have a defense, they're going to be legit.
If you watched the actual replay of any of that, and you watched like the interior line play and like in the trenches, that was an LSU offensive line that was supposed to be the best in the country if you talk to anybody around Baton Rouge. They got 2 tackles that should be drafted in the first round. They're in all the mock drafts up there that high. And here's the thing. LSU might have the most talented offensive line. They might have the most NFL draft picks on that offensive line, whatever. They got manhandled by Southern Cal. And I think part of that is it's so easy nowadays to be like, oh, well, LSU obviously sucks or whatever. And LSU has a lot of like room to grow. But I was really impressed with Southern Cal and USC and what they were able to do, especially on defense. I mean, they out physical LSU a lot. They like could not get the run game going, which we all thought that's what they were going to do. And then, dude, Miller Moss was as good as he was in the bowl game. He was as good as against this team. The thing that was most impressive, and they referenced this during the game, and I've never even thought about this, but Lincoln Riley, who's a play caller still at USC and has been like obviously one of the best offensive minds in all college football, they brought up the fact that he talked to them going into the season with he likes to, in games like this, have a different approach in the third and fourth quarter, especially late in the third and fourth quarter, where it's like you're finally making halftime adjustments. You think you know what's going to happen, and then bam, here's another wrinkle or a new set of wrinkles or a new approach that we haven't run all game, and all of a sudden it's like how do you stop that? I thought that was such a next level added piece that we don't really usually associate with Lincoln Riley. I was very impressed with how they won this game, dude, because they were losing 17-13 going into the final quarter, and I believe they ran up like 174 yards of offense in the fourth and outscored LSU 14-3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I mean, how about Kyron Hudson? Some of the number 10 on USC was making some of the most ridiculous catches. Like, they've got a ton of talent, and offense is never going to be the issue for Lincoln Riley. But I mean, one of the hires of the year was them going out and getting UCLA from last year's defensive coordinator. Yeah. By the way, UCLA lost to Hawaii.
But dude, didn't Desmond Howard called it. They're like a 27-point favorite.
I don't think it was that bad, but yeah, Hawaii was definitely the underdog. I mean, to LSU's credit, they looked improved on defense. I don't think, everyone's, because this is the third straight opener they've lost, like big game, but I didn't think it was because they just had defensive failures. Oh, okay. I didn't. What were the two before Florida State? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was UCLA in Coach O's sissy blue shirt moment, and then 2020 was when they were defending national champs, and fucking Mike Leach made his KJ Costello threw for 614 yards, and then went in the fucking face of a milk carton. Sorry.
R.I.P. But yeah, I mean,
we're being corrected.
So I knew they lost the last couple because obviously it was Florida State, but I thought this was a little different. They weren't having like defensive failures all over the field. They've had a good game. I think Nussmeier's really good. Like, he made some really good throws in that game. Your breakout player, one of your breakout players in the SEC, Kyron Lacey, like first drive, he had like 5 targets.
Yeah.
And had like 4 catches. Ended up with 7 for 94 and a touchdown, but he looks really good.
Article?
I might have took a gander.
That was really nice. Thank you.
Mason Taylor's a beast. I mean, I think they've got room to improve as the season goes on. Got to remember, new coordinators, new QB, could take some time, but I was really impressed with USC.
I was too. I thought they were really good. I think honestly, like the teams that impressed me the most that I didn't think would. Southern Cal was definitely one of them. We're not even going to talk about USC in South Carolina because that was tough.
Yeah, Beamer doesn't seem like he's it, huh? Have the TikToks slowed down yet?
They had to.
If not, probably should.
The defense looked good, I will say that, but they forced 4 turnovers. But dude, they won by 4 points. They had to get two turnovers inside of Old Dominion's 10-yard line to even. That's just not a recipe for success. So, do I think? Dude, Perkins led the team in tackles. Perkins was great in that game. They finally let him eat. Do I think Nico won the Heisman? He could, man. I think that, like, Brad Crawford came out from 247 Sports and had his updated bowl projections. What did I tell you? I told you that Tennessee was going to make the playoff, and they were one of my 4 teams. Tennessee was going to make it. People are starting to believe in that, even though they're playing against UT Chattanooga. Like, they're going to be good. So that was a team that really impressed me. Dude, I hate to say it, but she's in the other room, so I'll say it anyway, even though they didn't play anybody. But Auburn, dude, just from a statistical standpoint, I love numbers. A season ago, Auburn receivers had 7 total touchdown receptions, 7 total across from like 3 guys. That was just the receiving core, not tight ends and running backs included, just the receivers. 7 total touchdown receptions on the year. They had 6 in the first game.
That's Cam Coleman's going to be a beast.
Yeah. Do we have any other calls before we close out with our uncensored moment of the week?
We've got some calls. Some of them are long, close to 3 minutes. I'm going to have to remind you guys. Let's keep the voicemails like not 3 minutes.
Is there any,
it's not a great one? There's one guy that's just basically bashing Florida State fans and saying we deserve this. I'm not going to play it. Sorry, Scott from Athens, Georgia. I'll give you a shout out here, but I don't want to listen to it, and I'm controlling this board.
I'm controlling. Oh, damn it.
All right, here's the UGA caller.
All right, this is UGA Dog 69423318, and all I gotta say is, T Huck, and I know you're pissed off about the FSU game, but what the absolute fuck was Florida State thinking? Top 10 team, and
that was last week. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure that's Trill Belichick.
We got a good buddy of the show that's a Georgia Southern fan that called. He's got the 3-minute one, so I'm gonna say, Bud, if you're listening,
674-8233.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we someone mentioned before that we should take live callers. We may experiment with that at some point. I think we can make it work. Let's see.
Huck, Marler, what's up? Just wanted to tell you guys great episodes this week, and go Dogs.
Don't know who that was. Kept it short. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in. Thank you for listening.
Is it just us? Is it just us? Yeah, we got two people, Kirby Smart and Wesley Williams. Still one of the greatest fucking names that's ever been made on Twitter, ever.
Let me call. Is she trying to call right now?
I don't know.
We can't take calls right now. It's on Do Not Disturb, but maybe one day. All right. Yeah, let's get to the uncensored moment of the week.
Wait, that's all. We had no more calls. All right, we're gonna have to start giving me. I'm gonna start doing the fucking calls.
Okay.
What does mean? Okay. Oh, it's a dog thing. It's fucking barking.
Some of the videos that came out of fans, the UGA fans, that like, did you see the one where the guy was being like held back by his shorts and barking at Clemson?
Fucking stupid, but it's whatever. Uncensored moment of the week. Are you ready? This was posted by Marshall Levinson on Twitter. Okay. Marshall Levinson, you brought it up. Okay. Let me read you this because I know it's hard to zoom in on it, but Elite 2027 wide receiver Booby Feaster will visit Oklahoma this weekend as they face Houston. He was originally scheduled to visit LSU this weekend, but he has rescheduled for later in the season. I want to reiterate, his name is Booby Feaster.
Come at your boy. His real name seems to be Ethan.
That is unbelievable.
Do you think, like, I know Booby's kind of like a relatively common nickname in football. I don't know if it stems from Friday Night Lights, you have Booby Miles or whatever movie, the football movie was. But do you think that this nickname, because his real name's Ethan, so I don't know where Booby came from, but do you think it's like a pure play on the last name, like his high school buddies were like, you got to go by Booby Feaster because that's so funny, like ha ha ha? Or was this an unintentional funny thing?
So we just be inappropriate because we're on our own show now. We're not getting paid. But usually feasting is not what I would correlate with the top half. I get it, but I was just blown away that I didn't know that his name was Ethan. Also, I love the fact you said that's a common nickname. No, you knew one person from a fucking movie that came out 15 years ago.
I've seen other boobies.
I just don't understand how somebody's like, listen.
I've seen so many boobies, Chris. Like, you don't even know.
His name's Ethan. You know, like, I think I've said this before. Do you remember like the very first day of school when you were like in first grade, and this always happened at my school, at least, when there's always like one Asian kid that was like, what did she say? Am I too loud again?
Oh boy.
Okay, apparently I'm too loud again. There's always like some Asian kid, they'd be like, oh, is some name that's like native to their country here. And it was like, it sounded different than anything you'd heard because you were like 7 years old. It was like, what is that? And then it's like, and then the Asian kid would raise his hand and be like, oh, it's actually just James. And you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Being named Ethan and then being like at some point making a conscious change, be like, hey, actually, if you guys could all just start calling me Booby from now on, I would really love it. It's either that or it's like, you know how when somebody said, oh my God, Navy guy called me out, and he's also very accurate with the location. Christopher Moss gets it. So
yeah, Chris Moss gets it.
But it's either that or it's like something stupid where it's like, no, that's his Graham, but like, because he couldn't pronounce grandma, so it always like Graham, but like,
I just want to know. I mean, I don't feel comfortable tweeting at high school recruits, and especially because this kid's 2027. So
get Evan to do it. He'll do it.
Evan, tweet this kid and ask him where his nickname came from.
What was whose name was it a couple years ago? It was like in the SEC. I might have been at Bama, where somebody's name was like a nickname, and it was like, oh, it's because his grandma couldn't pronounce his name. It wasn't the other way around. It was like his grandma couldn't pronounce his own name.
All right, we've got Evan on it. So we record tomorrow, by the way, for our next
shit, do
podcast.
we?
Tomorrow's Wednesday. Week's all screwed up, but we will have our preview show for week 2. And by then, hopefully, Evan will have gotten a response from Mr. Feaster.
Yeah.
And we'll see where the nickname came from. I love you guys. You guys are on it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. 600 of you watching live currently. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And we call the hotline.
Call the hotline.
We need more calls. We need shorter calls. And Chris, can you put up the white screen with the phone number on it one more time for the people? And
one more time for the people. It is
770-674-8233. That's the Angry Fans hotline. Call us this weekend. Some of you have big games. Some of you have small games. But call regardless. Again, 770-674-8233. The Angry Fans hotline. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you've done that already, unsubscribe, then resubscribe. See if we can get this thing to the moon. I'm going to try to take Chris's white screen off so we can say goodbye. And it's just going to say 2024 college football playoff picks. All right, everybody. Take it easy. For Chris, I'm Tyler. We will talk to you guys tomorrow.